Welcome to Ark Math and Science. In today's video, we like to discuss the price action of ARKK, the innovative ETF from Ark Invest. And we want to ask the question, could ARKK be the future QQQ? So on the road to long-term investment, there are many obstacles. So you can see that, just over the past year also, we have kind of experienced high inflation, and then we have the really kind of like unexpected banking crisis, in early this year, and now we are experienced another kind of a roadblock, which is the debt ceiling negotiations, and then perhaps late this year we're going to talk about recession. So you can see, there are always these events going on, but for long-term investment, and it does not really matter, all of these events, because pretty much any time is a good time for long-term investment, and this kind of cycle always kind of continues. And you can see that, for ARKK, this is an ETF, and so right now it kind of the price is around $40, and in early this year, it topped at about $156. So it lost about 75% of its value from the top to the present time. But even that, you can see if you kind of starting from late 2014, start kind of invest in the ARKK, you have still kind of doubled your money, from the initial investment. So for long-term investment, anytime is a good time to buy stocks. And so in fact, sometimes if you want to get some extra gains, maybe there's some information we can attribute from the chart, and maybe sometimes the news can also help us. For example, here in the Wall Street Journal, there's a report talking about how investors are losing faith in Cathie Wood's ARK innovation, which is ARKK. And then shortly after, about like just 2 weeks later, this ETF, the price of this ETF bottomed at 29.64 on December 28. So sometimes this kind of investor sentiment can be used as a contrarian signal, and to basically, use this kind of opportunity to acquire more shares. So, this will help, if you want to kind of increase the position and use this kind of as a good opportunity to add positions. And now, what will happen next? This is kind of the question we want to ask. And could this ARKK be the future QQQ? So this is a chart of QQQ for the past 20 years also. You can see it also had this initial very quick rise, kind of like bubble territory, and then sharply dropped. And it topped at about $400 in November of 2021. And it's still around like $330. So the investment is really decent, from about like $20 here in the low to about $400. It's a 20-fold increase in 20 years. Speaking about really the power of long investment. You can see here, it kind of struggled around the 200-day moving average during this sort of precipitous drop. And this is one of the failed attempt to break above the 200-day moving average. But in the second attempt, it actually succeeded. So this is the bottom for the QQQ. So now these are the two scenarios. It seems like the ARKK is also kind of experienced kind of fluctuation around the 200-day moving average. Could the ARKK be in the scenario A, or maybe in the scenario B, where the bottom is already in? So these are the questions we try to answer in this video. So first, take a look at the trend analysis. So when we plot any investment on the log scale, its price, you can see that if indeed the compounding formula works, and then this investment value should kind of increase more or less along a straight line on this log scale. And it looks like this ARKK does not follow this straight line very well. In fact, if you look at the R square, look at how good the fit is, it looks like the value is only 0.59. Nevertheless, even though it's not like 1.0, which is like a perfect fit, still you can see that the general uptrend. So in other words, even the fit is not great, you can still see the general uptrend. And in this general uptrend, we can actually see that these two pink lines kind of tells whether this the two standard deviation above the trend line and the two standard deviation below the trend line. And according to statistical analysis, there's a 95% probability for the price to kind of fall between the plus and minus 2 sigma. Sometimes it goes above it, sometimes it goes below it. But it will not stay long when it went above it. And it quickly kind of reverses its trend and start going back into the trend line. The same thing happened. Just recently, it went below the 2 sigma trend line, the 2 standard deviation trend line. But then you can see now it had 2 attempts. This is the first attempt. And now this is kind of like currently we are kind of in the second attempt to get above the 2 sigma, the negative 2 sigma standard deviation. So this is something we're watching. But nevertheless, since that according to statistical analysis, it cannot stay below the 2 sigma line for too long. So this might offer a good opportunity for long-term investment. Now, look at the QQ chart. It actually may provide us some really kind of good clues regarding what will happen to the ARKK in the near future. Because during the dot-com bubble, the QQQ also had a quick, really kind of very rapid increase into the bubble territory. And that's when actually it kind of topped in early 2000. And then in this really long path. And actually the duration of this bear market is not really kind of similar to what we are having now, a little over 2 years, about 2 years and 6 months also. Now we are kind of in this bear market we currently in, more or less kind of in this territory. For the ARKK, it's already been more than 2 years in the downtrend. You can see that first it had this kind of a quick attempt to get above the 200-day moving average. It did it once, did it again, right? And then it kind of went below again and then started this third attempt. But in this case, it failed to get above the 200-day moving average. Not only that, you can see that if these two tops kind of being drawn a trend line, you can see that in the third attempt, it was not able to get above the trend line. So this is a failed attempt. But then after this failed attempt, it sharply dropped and then start to this next try again. So another attempt to get above the more or less above the 200-day moving average. Another attempt above the 200-day moving average, but it was not sustainable. And then in the third attempt, you can see that it get above the 200-day moving average. Not only that, these are the 2 attempts, and then now get above the 200-day moving average. Not only that, you can see the trend line formed by these 2 tops. In the third attempt, it also went above the trend line. So here was not able to get above the 200-day moving average, was not able to get above the trend line. It failed. Here, went above the 200-day moving average, went above the trend line, it succeeded. So this was the bottom. So now let's look at what the ARKK is doing in the current case. This is when the top is formed, and then in this kind of long persistent drop. So almost like more than 2 years now. And now you can see that it has sort of like more or less a first attempt. And then you have another attempt to try to get above the 200 moving average. You can kind of think about this is one attempt, this is another attempt. And then it failed in the second attempt, and then it started to deviate and further away from the 200-day moving average. And this is the third attempt just recently. He actually succeeded, went above the 200-day moving average. Not only that, now you have this top here, you have another top here. If you connect these 2 tops, you have a trend line. So in the third attempt, it not only went above the 200-day moving average, but it also was able to stay above the trend line. So this seems to me that it's more like the scenario for the QQ in the late 2002 and early 2003, when actually the bottom was already passed. This is where the bottom in October 2002. So it seems to me that we just had something like this, like similar to the QQQ in the late 2002 and early 2003, where it was able to stay above the 200-day moving average in the third attempt, and it was able to stay above the trend line. And this could be already the bottom. If that's the case, right now it's actually a very good opportunity for really kind of adding position if you haven't had, or just kind of start a position in this ARKK, which is the Ark Innovation ETF fund from Ark Invest. And if history is any guide, this could be actually, offer a 20-fold increase in the next 20 years also, and leading a great hold for long-term investors. So there's a lot of information. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and also find the information presented here interesting. There's always obstacles on the road towards long-term investment. So sometimes patience is kind of the key to success in investment. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and please do not forget to click the like button. And your support really means a lot to this channel and give me the motivation to continue make videos like this one. And thank you for watching. And again, please do not forget to click the subscribe button. Thank you.